Is that better? Just a great atmosphere that the fans created for us. So really appreciate that, and obviously need that again this week. So thought our performance was very solid. Special teams really stuck out as we saw in person, and as you go back and watch the film, just really proud of Coach Teagarden and the job that he's done there. And Ryan McInerney is his quality control guy that does a tremendous job working together and came up with a great game plan, and the guys executed it. So creating explosive plays in that area of the game is really, really important for us moving forward, and be able to set up our offense and defensively tackle well, ran to the football, played physical, made some adjustments there as they got a couple of drives on us late in the half and then early in the third. And offensively being able to get some more guys involved, I thought was very important for us to be able to do that, some different guys, and getting Michael continue to grow and develop and comfortable with his situation. So just a very important game for us. Now we turn our full attention to Cincinnati, and just really impressed with their football team, and have a chance to spend the last couple of days watching them, and really Coach Fickle's done a tremendous job there in both recruiting. Last couple of seasons they've won a lot of football games, and very, very talented quarterback, and just a lot of good speed and skilled guys across the board and in the backfield, and big men up front, and defensively very, very disciplined, very sound, and don't give up a lot of things, and really do a good job tackling and keeping things in front of them. So really, really good football team. They're ranked what they are for a reason, and they've earned it. So just very excited about the opportunity that it creates this weekend, and excited for our fans to be able to be there in full force. Know it's already a sellout, and just really means a lot to me that the fans are getting behind us, and we understand the opportunity that this presents. So really excited about this coming weekend, and ready for questions.
You got a taste of those top 10 rankings last year and such, and your schedule, and the top 10 rankings now look very similar with four of your opponents there. But with an opportunity with Cincinnati coming into town this week, and especially with how the first opportunity at Iowa didn't go the way you wanted, how much of a sense of urgency do you feel in this weekend's game to make more of a statement than you did in week one?
Well, I think that's, sense of urgency is probably a good way to put it. I think there's no question that's what this situation creates. I think that, just like you mentioned, you have opportunity week one, and we're going to have many opportunities as you see the polls out as the season unfolds to be able to play against top teams in the country. And our schedule is full of them, and this is the next one. And so we told our team yesterday, and it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next one, and our guys understand that. And but yes, what an opportunity that presents itself, and the chance to be able to just go out there and prove yourself every week, and that's really what it comes down to. And I think that's what we talked about, even before 2 weeks ago, and leading up to that, just being able to understand that it's about earning it every single week. And when you play such a schedule like we do, then you are blessed with the opportunities to be able to play elite teams consistently. So no matter what happens in the past, good or bad, you got to flush it, and you got to get ready for the next opportunity. And that's what this one presents. And so definitely one that we want to make sure we're fully ready for.
You mentioned at the top just talking about Mike and his seeing his comfort level improve a little bit. I guess just wanted to see if you could elaborate on that a little bit. What did you, when you had a chance to watch him again? Just how are you seeing him progress in terms of getting more comfortable in there? How do you think you guys did from a play calling perspective in creating rhythm for him and starting him on that lane? How much closer do you think he is to looking like himself at this point?
Yeah, I thought it was an important next step. Definitely have more work to do, but I feel like that it's important to get the run game going. With Stephen Carr, and he was our offensive player of the game, and I think that's indicative of how their offensive line blocked, and the perimeter blocking, and tight ends blocking, and he and all the running backs ran the football well. But I just think getting that established, and then being able to have good sound protection. A couple things in there that we didn't. It was going back and watching the film, meeting as a staff. Just kind of continue to help him feel comfortable with even just the progressions and play calling, everything that we're doing. And I did think, though, there was one where he was flushed out of the pocket, got a face mask call, and then ran and slid. I just think just the decisiveness of that decision was good, and just to be able to get back here and just play football, and not overthink things. And that's the part of it you're just working through, and that's where I think it was. You just got to continue to play, And so I think it was definitely a very positive step in the right direction for Michael, and just getting more comfortable every single week. And like I said, during the week, it's not an issue because you're just, you know the situation, and you'll be able to know what's going on around you. But I think he just, I thought last week's practice was better for him than it was the week before. So I just continue to help this process move forward. I think you're just going to see him just keep getting better and better.
Coach, I wanted to first ask you about the status of James Haddon and Jalen Williams, and then some of your impressions of Desmond Ritter, a big QB who's got some NFL potential, obviously.
Yeah, so we do expect Jalen Williams to be back this week. And so James Head, I doubt will be. He's still coming back from an injury, and so he's progressing well, doing more and more every single week. I think he'll be back hopefully in the near future. But in regards to Desmond, he's a special player. The thing about it, he's a long guy. He's 6'4". He's big. He's 215 plus pounds and runs a lot. Runs really, really effectively. And as we all know, that puts challenges on a defense when a quarterback can do that. And he stayed healthy. He runs the ball a lot, but has to be able to stay healthy, and that's a tough thing to do at this level. And really, his passing just keeps getting better and better. You go back and watch in years past, which we've done that when you go through, and this is obviously a team we spent a lot of time studying over the summer as well, and looking at previous years and see his growth as a quarterback. And he's just really throws the ball down the field with a lot of accuracy now, and just really has a really talented receiver core. So very, very good football player, definitely future NFL guy. And yeah, I mean, you have that kind of guy, leading your team. That's a very, very good formula for a lot of success.
Yeah, Coach, I know the secondary's been pretty banged up through the first 2 weeks of the season. I mean, what's your assessment of the back end so far, and what are you looking for, next week against Cincinnati?
Yeah, we have been a little bit, and Devon Matthews, we'll know more about him later this week. And but we also did find out that Chris Keys tore his ACL in the game, and so he'll be out for the season, which is disappointing for him, and I really feel bad for him. And he's worked really, really hard. And so Noah Pierre is really going to probably be elevated in his move him from playing mostly safety to playing corner. And so, but that's just part of going through the season. But getting Jalen back will be big for us, and just got to continue to develop our younger guys, and that's where it's going to be big. And hoping to get Jonathan Haynes back in the mix this week as well. And so that will help us as we get Devon, a.k.a. Monster, get him back with us as soon as possible. So, but yeah, it's just, every year it seems like maybe a certain position that has a little more challenges than others, and that seems to be our spot for this year. But guys are working really hard back there, and obviously their role is going to be huge this weekend, because our secondary and will be tested by a very, very talented receiver core and really, really elite quarterback. So just expect them to play a little better this week than we did last week. That's the whole key. Our defense made a lot of growth in some areas last week or week 1 to week 2. And because of that, Micah McFadden and Ryder Anderson were both our defensive players of the game. And just those guys, their leadership and their production continues to be at a high level. So just really encouraged by the secondary. I know they caught some passes on us underneath. A lot of that was leverage and positioning, different things. But just got to continue to get better. And I know we will, because our guys are really, really motivated, and we've got a great staff.
Coach, getting back to the offense and getting them going, obviously that starts and stops with the offensive line. The progression there, it's a veteran line, so thought it may be a little bit further along. They give up back-to-back sacks the other night in a sequence that probably didn't make you very happy. But where are they right now, and how far along are they to getting both the passing and running games going?
Yeah, to me, I need to continue to develop there. The two plays that you alluded to, first one got beat on a TE stunt, which, shouldn't happen. It was a mistake in communication, and that's kind of what I talked about before. I think that's the part you have to continue to work through when you have the guard tackle working together. And as with Luke now back, those guys have another week to be together. And there was poor communication on the one side, and then Luke just got beat one-on-one, off the edge, and which can't happen. And but those were the two sacks that we gave up. And yeah, definitely, I just think every single week we just go through, and I felt like there was, even in the run game, there was some improvement for sure. And I felt like that, and as I mentioned before, their two inside guys were very big and strong and talented guys, and just really guys had to really strain and work and finish, and which is good, And so, but felt like that we were on the right people more even than in the past. Stayed on guys. We had better effort up front, better finish up front. Still got to make sure we don't miss reads with our backs. That happened a couple times, which affected some runs, and we'll continue to get better at that. But I think it's just a collective group, with Stephen Curry is new, working with those guys, working with our system, just learning more and more reps. Obviously wasn't here over the summer, wasn't here in the springtime, so you just continue to get everything we've done from fall camp on. So, yeah, it's just a group that has continued to mesh, and to me, that's what we always say. The teams are made during the season, and you just every single week, the work that you put into it and everything that we do in practice. And one thing we're doing, too, a lot more of this year is we're doing more good on good during practice to be able to create a better look for each side of the football, to be able to really do a good job of preparing our front, because that's the key on both sides, to be able to work against high-level guys that can give you the proper resistance, the proper movements, and you have to execute technique at a high level to be able to get that. So that's something that we're really working hard on, and our O-line needs to keep coming together. They have to play really, really well, because it definitely starts and stops with them.
I guess returning to Michael for a second, I think the word you used was instinctive, talking about just a couple of the things that he did on Saturday.
Who's that?
Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I guess as you sort of evaluate how he can get better, how he can improve from these first 2 weeks, how much of it is technical in your mind, and how much of it maybe is more just finding that timing, that rhythm to where he's doing things kind of almost without thinking, where everything is just kind of, as you said, instinctive for him?
Yeah, I think it's more rhythm. I think it's more timing than technical. I think it's being able to do what you do, fundamentally sound at a high level, with being live. And I think that's the key, and just the whole dynamic that creates, and the part of it. And that's where, like you said, you only get that on game day. You're not going to do that during the week. The timing you do, those different things, but doing them when it's live, when there's full pressure and everything is full speed and tackle, that's where that's why the games are so critical, and just being able to, even in the game, Saturday, to keep them out there as long as we felt we should and needed to be able to get what we wanted to get out of that was very important, and still be, wise in how we used those reps, so, and then get a chance for Jack to compete and play at a high level. So to me, that's really, really important that he's able to do that, and I feel like that, the more he plays, the better he's going to get, and the more of those natural things, those instinctive things that he does and has already built inside of him, those keep coming out more and more each week, and that's what we expect to happen. And even as the competition increases and intensity increases, and you have to continue to play at a high level.
Tom, what are 2 or 3 points of emphasis that you'll throw at your guys before this game against Cincinnati?
I think number one, it's a just continued focus on just a relentless attention to detail. I just think that has to be, how you perform in those pressure moments. We've had a chance to play really, really good football team week 1, and that exposes certain things. And so now they have to be able to, another opportunity to play another top 10 team, and to play them and have the execution of our offense, execution of our defense, execution of our special teams, and at elite level, the attention to detail in those things, in those moments, against that type of competition. That's the focus, and that's the way I want our guys to prepare and how we ultimately are going to play. So that's step number 1 for me. And number 2 is just, I think it's to be able to, it's the fundamental things, and we, even though as the games get bigger throughout the season, the emphasis on fundamentals doesn't change. To be able to fundamentally position yourself with footwork and hand placement, and how we're going to tackle, and how are the angles we're going to take, and where our eyes are going to be. We're just continue to teach those things, because that's where those are fundamental things that don't go away, and they are part of what you do, because it's so much a part of defense is eye discipline. And making sure we've made a huge emphasis on that. And that's going to be another big point this week. And I think the third one is continued communication with our guys. And that's, working together on the offensive line, working together with our defense, everything that we do with our quarterbacks and our running backs, with the different things that they have in protections, and the receivers and the things that they're doing together. And then our secondary with the linebackers, and linebackers with the D-line. And so those are just things to me that just, they just show up. They come out in big games when you have crowds and you have noise and you have the ability to have to make sure we're all on the same page. It's just one miscommunication here or there can be the difference in the game. That's why those things, as in a game like this, when it's going to be so much, every play is going to have so much on the line, which is what I see in games like this, where you have to be able to be at your best in those moments and have those execution that they're looking for. So to me, that's what you emphasize, and it's the process that you go through to continue to get better at that. And every week you want to see those mistakes continue to diminish each and every week.
Coach, you touched on this a little bit after the game, but the student section and how it was packed and how they got here early and how they energized the team, just how important was that, and just how important is that to continue?
Well, I mean, to me, it's really important, and that's why I've already talked about it multiple times and did it right after the game and went over there afterwards to thank them for being there early and just encourage them to come back next week and yeah, for that to continue, because to me, you just create a culture of that's just what our section looks like. That's what the student section looks like when you come to the game at Indiana, and that hasn't always been that way in the past. But they've been awesome, and I appreciate that. And that's why I don't want them to ever think that we take any of that for granted whatsoever. And so just know that just our players, and they talked about it. I mean, they were interacting with them too on social media about it, and just showing their appreciation and thankfulness for it. So yeah, it's just crowds energize. That's why home field is an advantage for a reason. And part of it is the familiarity of your routine, but the bigger part of it is crowd noise, and the energy it gives the home team, and then the distraction it can become to the visiting team, and the ability for them to have struggle in communicating. So when they're on offense and it's third down, and man, our defense is on the field, and it's just deafening to where they can't hear anything. Everything has to be silent count, communication with hand signals, and it gives us an advantage in the jump, on the snap, and all those different things that go into play when you play with that behind you. And so, but that's why, and just the energy that they bring pregame and during warm-ups, and just everything that goes into that to the psyche of our guys. And so, yeah, it's important. And so, very, very much appreciate it, and really excited for it to continue the rest of the season.
Coach, we've seen two very different versions of your football team in the first 2 weeks. Just curious as to what team are we going to see in week 3, and going down the rest of the season, are we ever going to see what we kind of saw against Iowa again, or is it going to be more of what we saw against Idaho?
Well, certain parts of that game I hope we never see again, but obviously we played a different opponent week 2, so what you're looking for is consistent, performance and consistent execution, consistent energy. There's power and consistency, and we challenge our team all the time about embracing the boredom of that consistency. That's a powerful concept of how you stick to the process of becoming great. And it's something that we teach a lot of time to our guys. And even though we got a lot of guys who play a lot of football, you can never, you just have to maybe rephrase it in certain different ways to be able to emphasize it, but so it doesn't become stale. But at the same time, that's what you want. It's consistent performance. And so to be able to execute things I've talked about, answering previous questions about, to be able to do the fundamental things the right way, critical moments of the game, and being able to execute offense, defense, special teams in those moments when it counts the most, and when the game's on the line, and when there's a lot to play for. So, but that's where, you want guys to get to where that just becomes the norm. This is how we play. This is a standard. It doesn't matter. The opponent doesn't drive that. The clock doesn't drive that. The circumstances don't drive that. You drive that, and you control that, your focus and your attention to detail. So that's what we're trying to get to as a program, as a team. And that, to me, is where, you want to be able to have just that steady. That's who we are when we play. That's what we talk about, our DNA on each side of the football. Offense, defense, special teams. That's who we are. That's what we're known for. And when you see us play, that's what you think of. And that's what we want. And that's what we talk about. Those things are plastered in every single room. We talk about them every single day. And we want that consistent performance from our guys. So that's the expectation, for this program, is to be able to perform in those moments at a high level.
Almost following up on that, I guess, with some of those expectations that you talked about, I think this game against Cincinnati was scheduled in something like 2014. You weren't here yet at the time. And I guess seeing kind of the evolution of both programs kind of on a larger scale, was this a game that you expected 5-6 years ago to be a nationally relevant game like this? How have you seen both of these programs develop to the point where this is a game that I guess, matters at a national level?
Yeah, I would say, if you think back, and I don't know exactly when the game, I know it was scheduled before I got here, and I got here in 2016. So if it was scheduled in 2014, I mean, back then, I know we played them when I was at University of South Florida in 2015, and they had the number 4th ranked offense in the country, and they were a really good football team. And but at that time, Indiana was building, and was not in that situation. So yeah, to be able to predict it, 2021, I think that probably would not have been part of what anybody thought at the time. And so I think it's been written about even, in the summer about the upcoming game, anticipation of this game, the two programs that are in a different spot than they have been in the past. Even though Cincinnati was a successful program at that point, they weren't top 10, and so yeah, they've elevated their program and we've elevated our program, and so definitely different than what it would have maybe been projected when it was contracted, all those years ago. So, but that's what makes it awesome and exciting, and a great opportunity for both programs to be able to play in these types of games that people are talking about and they're interested in, and that's how you build your program. You get those opportunities and a chance for them to be put in a certain position, and then when those come, you got to take advantage of it.
This is a little bit of, just going back to Mike again. I know it's changing direction a little bit, but I guess when you look back at how you handled the camp, you were obviously just very careful. I guess, do you look back at that any differently? Would you do it any different in hindsight? I guess it doesn't seem like you'd allow contact in any way, but do you think there's anything more that you could have done to put more stress on, to get more comfortable, or do you feel like you guys did as much as you could to do that in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone back and talked about it. I mean, I don't think there's anything we would have done different physically. I mean, there's no question he would have ever not gotten hit. That would not have happened. And we did do a lot of things to stress him, and like even during all of his, when we did special teams work, when usually a quarterback would do certain fundamental things that were maybe not physically stressful, he was conditioning, he was doing everything rehab-wise and just strengthening and just running and working with our strength staff and just really kind of stressing his body in a big way. So, but I think, the actual, it's like you have when you have a young player, just one thing you can't do is simulate a game, and being able to have all that involves in that and how you feel in that moment. There's no game simulation machine for that, So, but I just think, we still did a lot of things mentally, just different things. So I think you just got to go play, and you got to work through it, and that's part of what we're going through right now. And so I think you're seeing growth, and so, but yeah, you go back and you always look back at different things you could try to do better, and we'll continue to do that as we talk to him and different things, But and I think every situation is a little bit different too, based on the injury and the person's past and just what position they play and different things, So it's just obviously one of those where, is not a point where you would say, hey, we wish we would have come to and had our guys tackling him, during fall camp. That wasn't the case, and you would never do that. So, but here we are, and he's growing and getting better and feeling better about it. So that's what you can do.
Yeah, Luke Fickell is a guy that has a Big Ten background, a defensive background. Do you have any encounters with him maybe over the years in recruiting and so forth? And what kind of defensive personality do you see that kind of rubs off on their team?
He's one coach I really don't know very well. I don't know that I've shaken his hand a few times, but really not spoken to him. We've not sat down and talked ball. But just a lot of respect. He's a wrestler, so that's always one of those guys that a lot of respect for that. I love that. But just tough. His kids play hard or physical, discipline, everything that we want to be. And so as well. So when you got defensive-minded head coaches that are former wrestlers, you kind of get that same toughness, emphasis, and just guys are just going to play with a lot of grit and fight and just be relentless, So those are the kind of things that I see, from their defense and the consistency. No matter who the coordinators have been, you kind of get changes there, but you're going to just get the common denominator is him and his personality and how hard they play. So that's just a lot of respect for him and what he's built there. And he does a great job recruiting. They've done a really good job in the state of Ohio and convincing kids to stay home there, and which is important, And so now that they're moving into the Big 12, and that will just enhance that for them, So, but that's just part of building a program, and so he's done that, and definitely. But I don't know him that well for sure, but have a lot of respect.
Hey, Coach. Hope you had a great weekend. Cincinnati ranks 10th in the FBS in passing yards allowed, and only allows third down conversion rates 33% of the time. We haven't seen too many scrambles by Penix thus far. Are you looking to get that going more to open up the passing game going into this week and combating that third down conversion rate?
Yeah, I think, just anytime you ability to move the pocket around, I think it's a positive thing, just to be able to, make it more difficult for them to pressure him, so, but once again, as we've stated before today, it just starts up front and our ability to truly, protect him. But also, you're right, just like we do with different parts of our scheme, you want to be able to change certain points so they can't just, target it, whether they, it's the coverages you run on defense and the way you're looking, the way they look and present it, and whether it's your punts and your pockets and all the different things that you do, football-wise, So, yeah, I think that's just a part of the continued growth of him because he definitely, he can run, and you've seen him run around, and that's not an issue at all, and he's 100% with all that. So it's just a matter of him just being able to continue to move around and play football, and get open, whatever people are stressing us whatever way, we just extend the pocket if we have to, slide in the pocket, move around, and get the ball downfield. Awesome. Have a great day. Elio.